Winter storms are overwhelming the United States. Heavy snow, ice, widespread power outages, and severe transportation disruptions are spreading across much of the country. When the storm arrives, the first thing to disappear is not electricity, but the feeling that you are still in control of your life. More than 1,200 flights have been canceled. Many areas are buried under more than 30 centimeters of snow, and this weather event could affect over 230 million people across more than 30 different states. But what worries many families most is not the snow, but the things disappearing from store shelves before the storm has even passed. When the power goes out, roads freeze and trucks stop moving. Life does not collapse because of missing expensive equipment. It begins to crack from items so small we always assume we can buy them tomorrow. A roll of paper, a battery, something very ordinary, until the moment you truly need it. So today, here are 15 cheap items to stockpile, store, and potentially use for barter in 2026. Things almost no one notices on a normal day, yet they determine whether you will only endure a few difficult days or enter a real crisis. And the first item on this list costs only a few thousand dong, yet once saved an entire family during 11 days without power in the middle of winter. And among everything that disappears first when winter paralyzes a city, the most important item is the one so inexpensive that almost no one prepares enough of it. 1. Thick trash bags. The first boundary between order and chaos. When the power goes out in the middle of winter, many people think the most frightening thing is the lack of food. But in reality, the first thing to collapse is often not the stomach, but cleanliness. Food in the refrigerator begins to spoil. Dirty water has nowhere to go. Unpleasant odors slowly spread into the living space. And after only a few days, the feeling of unease does not come from the cold outside, but from inside the house itself. That is the moment you realize a very quiet truth. Crisis rarely begins with grand events. It begins when the smallest things stop working properly. And at that exact moment, an object that seems trivial becomes the most important. Thick trash bags. They are not only for holding garbage. They can block water, retain heat, temporarily store water, seal belongings, even become an emergency toilet when the sanitation system stops working. During days of disruption, the ability to stay clean and isolate waste can determine the health of an entire family, no less than food or drinking water. The true value of trash bags lies in absolute simplicity. No skill required, no electricity required, no special storage required. Stored away for many years, and when needed, they still do exactly what they are meant to do. But precisely because they are so cheap and so familiar, they are often the least prepared item. And by the time everything begins to become dirty, the real crisis has already begun. In many homes, the distance between calm and chaos sometimes lies in just a few thick trash bags that were bought long ago. 2. Bleach. The boundary between safe water and illness. In a crisis, the most dangerous thing is often not the lack of food, but water that still looks clear and harmless. Just a few days without power, a filtration system stopping, or contaminated pipes can quietly turn familiar household water into the fastest path to intestinal infection, high fever, and exhaustion. The frightening part is this: you cannot see that danger with your eyes. Ordinary chlorine bleach, the item sitting silently in the corner of a bathroom, is actually one of the simplest tools to reduce that risk. With only a very small amount, at the correct concentration, it can help make water temporarily safer to use in an emergency. Not perfect, not a replacement for a water treatment system, but enough to extend time before the body falls into danger. In addition, bleach can disinfect surfaces, tools, and sanitation areas, the places where bacteria multiply most easily when living conditions begin to decline. The true value of bleach does not lie in its chemical strength, but in its stark simplicity. Something inexpensive, easy to obtain, yet able to stand at the fragile boundary between health and illness. What matters is not storing a large amount, but understanding proper use, keeping the correct unscented type that is still effective, and knowing that a single small bottle can sometimes protect an entire family through many unstable days. In many disasters, people do not collapse from hunger first, but from drinking water they believed was safe. And once the body becomes ill in conditions without medical care, every survival plan that follows nearly loses its meaning. Preparing for clean water, therefore, is not fear. It is simply a way to keep the body from collapsing before the world has time to stabilize again. And if one day everything around you suddenly slows down, in your home, what would run out first? Food or safe water to drink? 3. Soap, the body's first line of defense. 3 days without bathing only causes discomfort, but a few times touching food with unclean hands can be enough for an entire family to fall ill. What exhausts many people after disasters is not hunger, but infections that begin very quietly on the skin, the hands, and in declining household water conditions. A simple bar of soap plays a larger role than we often realize. It washes away bacteria before they can enter the body, cleans small cuts before they become infections, and keeps the living environment minimally safe enough to maintain health. When medical conditions are limited, the ability to prevent illness at the beginning is often more important than trying to treat it at the end. Bar soap is especially valuable because it stores for a long time, requires no electricity, needs no special conditions, and can be used for many purposes: washing hands, cleaning the body, basic laundry, or sanitizing household tools. One small item can replace many more expensive things when familiar systems temporarily stop working. After many disasters, there are still families with enough stored food, yet they gradually weaken simply from prolonged intestinal illness and infection. Those seemingly small problems are what erode strength the fastest. People rarely collapse from lack of food first, but from a body that is no longer clean enough to protect itself. Keeping the body clean does not make you stronger immediately, but it keeps you from becoming weak too soon. And sometimes that alone is enough to pass through the most unstable days. 4. Batteries and light. What keeps you from being swallowed by darkness? A power outage is not only an inconvenience. The moment a house falls into complete darkness, the feeling of losing control appears almost immediately. You cannot see the path clearly, you do not know what is happening outside, and every decision slows down simply because there is no light. One viewer once shared that during a winter storm, he handed out cheap flashlights with AA batteries to his neighbors. No one asked how much they cost. They said only one simple sentence: "Thank you. Now we can see." Just a small source of light can sometimes restore order. A flashlight helps you move safely, treat injuries, check food, read important information, and maintain basic daily life when the power grid disappears. In an emergency, seeing clearly is the first step to staying calm. Batteries also keep emergency radios, small medical devices, and timekeeping tools working. When everything becomes uncertain, a steady source of light can keep the mind from falling into panic. During many long nights without electricity, the most frightening thing is not the storm outside, but the darkness inside the house itself. Light does not end a crisis, but it keeps you from being paralyzed by fear. And sometimes simply seeing the road ahead means you have already gone farther than you thought. 5. Aluminum foil. Quiet versatility. A thin roll costing only a few dollars is often seen as a minor kitchen item. But when electricity becomes unstable and familiar cooking methods no longer function reliably, aluminum foil quickly becomes one of the most flexible tools still in your hands. It can serve as a temporary tray over charcoal or a small gas stove, seal food to retain heat longer, shield a weak flame from wind, line cooking surfaces to reduce heat loss, even form a funnel, a lid, or a reflective layer to help warm a small space. In conditions lacking proper equipment, a single roll of foil can replace many bulky tools while still preserving essential function. The greatest advantage of aluminum foil lies in its ability to adapt quickly. It requires no complex skill, does not depend on electricity, is light, easy to store, and ready to use when needed. Items like this are rarely noticed in normal times, yet become extremely valuable when daily life is disrupted. When every other option gradually disappears, what remains is not the most modern item, but the one that can do the most in silence. Sometimes, smart preparation is not found in expensive equipment, but in small objects that quietly help life keep moving. Have you ever gone through a long night without power and realized you were missing exactly one very small thing? 6. Food wrap, preserving what is still edible. When a refrigerator begins to fail, the boundary between still usable and must be thrown away becomes extremely fragile. Half a bowl of rice, a piece of meat left from dinner. Sometimes that is the last food you have before stores reopen. Food rarely spoils instantly. It spoils gradually as air, moisture, and bacteria enter faster than your ability to protect it. Just a few extra hours can save another meal. Just a few extra days can prevent you from losing something not easily replaced. A simple sealed layer of food wrap creates that valuable time. It limits exposure to air, preserves moisture, reduces cross-contamination, and extends the usability of food when electricity is unstable. Beyond food, it can cover water bottles, keep small items dry, and protect belongings from dust and humidity. Light, inexpensive, easy to store, yet its true value lies in the time it preserves. As choices grow fewer, what matters is not how much food you have, but how much you can keep from spoiling. And sometimes, what extends a few more ordinary days is only a thin layer almost no one notices. 7. Zip bags and freezer bags, keeping everything in its place. When life is still stable, zip bags are just small items resting quietly in a kitchen drawer. Something you buy out of habit and forget exists. But when the familiar rhythm of life begins to slow, when stores open irregularly, when electricity flickers and everything gradually becomes unpredictable, the true value of a simple sealed bag quietly appears. Food can no longer be wasted. Medicine, documents, batteries, lighters, each becomes a resource that must be kept dry, clean, and intact for as long as possible. A thin layer of plastic that seems trivial can block water, dust, insects, and moisture from damaging what you cannot immediately replace. Thicker freezer bags also allow you to divide portions into smaller amounts, preserve unused food longer, and prevent losing everything after a single careless opening. In scarcity, what matters is no longer how much you own. What matters is how much you can keep from spoiling, from being lost, from disappearing out of reach. The items that do this are usually very small, very inexpensive, and almost never considered in ordinary days. Yet they quietly extend time. One more usable meal, one more intact pill, one more day before facing harder choices. Then there will be a very quiet moment when you open a cabinet and realize that what remains fits inside only a few simple sealed bags. No noise, no drama. Just the fragile boundary between still holding on to something and beginning to lose everything. Crisis rarely begins when you lose everything at once. It begins in the moment you realize you are no longer able to hold on to anything at all. 8. Paracord, an ancient survival tool. No electricity required, no batteries required, just a thin cord. Yet it appears in almost every moment when people must manage on their own after the familiar world stops working. A temporary shelter in wind and rain must be secured before night falls. A bag of belongings must be tied tight so it is not carried away by the cold wind. Wet clothes must be hung so there is still something to wear in the morning. Or a heavy object must be pulled out of danger before it is too late. In situations like these, the small cord draws little attention, yet quietly determines what remains and what disappears. Paracord can also be separated into inner strands for tying, stitching, securing, or handling delicate tasks when proper tools are gone. Light, durable, coiled in the palm of a hand. Yet its true value is not in the strength of the cord, but in its ability to keep order from collapsing too quickly when everything around begins to unravel. Humans have used rope for thousands of years, not because of convenience, but because in survival, everything that must endure must be tied. A shelter not tied down will blow away. A bundle not secured will be lost. And what is not held firmly will eventually leave your hands, often at the moment you need it most. Crisis rarely takes everything in a single instant. It begins as each small thing slips away in silence, until you realize you no longer have enough to hold on to anything. In difficult days, what protects you is not the strongest thing, but the thing durable enough to keep everything else from leaving. If you could keep only 3 items from this list, what would you choose to protect your family? 9. Duct tape. Patching just enough to live a few more days. Duct tape is not beautiful, and it is not a permanent solution, but it often appears at the exact moment when everything begins to break down little by little, quietly, slowly, and unnoticed until it is too late to replace. A tear in the sole of a shoe in cold weather makes every step heavier. A corner of a shelter trembling in the night wind warns that rain is about to pour in. A loose electrical wire can send an entire room into darkness at the moment you need light the most. These small failures are rarely large enough to cause panic, yet enough to erode stability day by day until life becomes harder than expected. A simple roll of tape does not restore everything to the way it was, but it can patch a shoe so you can walk another week, hold a shelter in place through the rain, secure what cannot yet be replaced. Not perfect, but enough to continue. In scarcity, value does not lie in repairing something perfectly. Value lies in extending its use when you have no other choice. Every day you delay a breakdown is another day you preserve a normal rhythm of life. Another day you avoid facing something worse ahead. Crisis rarely arrives through one great collapse. It comes when too many small things fail at once, and you have nothing left to hold them together. So in the days when everything around you slowly wears down, what keeps you moving forward is not perfection, but the ability to patch things long enough so you do not have to stop too soon. 10. Candles. The light of normalcy. A dark room lasting for many nights does not only take away light, it quietly drains the spirit. Darkness slows the passage of time, makes every sound feel heavier, and lets unease grow hour by hour. A small candle does not shine as brightly as a flashlight. It does not reach far. It is not enough for large tasks, but it brings something more important than brightness: the feeling that life is still continuing. A steady flame, warm and familiar. As long as one corner of the room remains lit, a meal can still happen. Conversations can still be spoken, and the long night becomes a little more bearable. During days of disruption, preserving a normal rhythm of living can matter as much as having enough food. A cheap candle, stored quietly in a drawer. Yet when needed, it does not only light the room, it preserves calm for an entire family. Sometimes, what saves you is not the brightest light, but a light small enough to remind you that everything is not over yet. 11. Thermal blankets, resisting the silent killer. In many disasters, people do not collapse from lack of food first, but because the body gradually loses heat without realizing it. Cold does not arrive loudly. It comes slowly, quietly, and takes strength away little by little. A thermal blanket, thin as paper, almost weightless, yet able to preserve the precious heat the body still has. Just staying warm long enough gives you more time to wait for daylight, wait for help, or simply endure one harsh night. Not soft like a thick blanket, not comfortable like a warm bed, but in critical moments, value does not lie in comfort. It lies in the ability to help the body continue to exist, a thin object, inexpensive and easily forgotten. Yet sometimes the final boundary between exhaustion and having enough strength to rise the next morning. When everything becomes cold, what matters most is not perfect warmth, but keeping enough heat to survive the night. 12. Portable camp stove, the boundary between disruption and crisis. When electricity disappears, the first thing that changes is not light, but the ability to create heat. Water cannot be boiled, food cannot be warmed, and the room grows colder with each passing hour. By the second night, breath becomes visible in the air. Meals cool faster than you can finish them, and the familiar sense of control in everyday life quietly leaves the house. A small portable stove does not provide comfort. It provides agency. As long as you can boil water, you can prepare something warm to keep the body heated, cook a simple meal to maintain strength, and sustain a minimal level of hygiene to prevent everything from sliding more quickly toward chaos. A small but steady source of heat is enough to bring the human mind back to the calm needed to keep thinking and acting. The true value of a portable stove does not lie in the flame it creates, but in its ability to stop a temporary disruption from becoming a prolonged crisis. As long as there is still a way to cook food and generate warmth, life remains within the limits of endurance. And sometimes, the boundary between endurance and complete collapse is only a small remaining source of heat. If the power were out for several days, would you have a way to boil water and cook a hot meal inside your own home? 13. Zip ties, a fast solution in seconds. Not every problem in an emergency begins with something dramatic. Sometimes it is only a door blown open by the wind in the middle of the night, a tarp slowly slipping from its anchor in the cold rain, or a few items that must be secured immediately before they fall, break, or disappear. Small moments like these are often overlooked until they trigger a chain of troubles at the exact moment you no longer have time to respond slowly. Zip ties are almost invisible in everyday life. They are cheap, light, and easily forgotten in the corner of a drawer. But when every second matters, the value of speed and certainty becomes clear. With a single tightening motion, you can hold in place what is about to come loose. Secure a light source so you are not left searching in the dark. and bundle scattered items before they create more problems. No special skill required, no complex thinking. Just one timely action that keeps a situation from getting worse. Survival is rarely decided by grand choices. More often, the boundary between control and chaos lies in handling one very small detail before everything slips beyond reach. In your home right now, is there a simple item so easy to overlook, yet capable of solving an unexpected problem in just a few seconds? 14. Adhesive. Extending usable time. When an item breaks and there is nothing to replace it, what disappears is not only the object, but a choice that has just slipped from your hands. A small crack in a water container, a shoe sole beginning to peel while you are moving, or a flashlight joint loosening on the very night you need light most. Failures that seem minor can quietly begin a chain of lasting inconvenience, especially when every path to buying or repairing is temporarily gone. A small tube of adhesive does not make everything new again, but it is enough to seal a leaking gap, hold together what is coming apart, and preserve a few more crucial days of use. That extended time is the true value, because one more day of function means one more day before you reach a dead end. One more day waiting for another solution to appear. In scarcity, the ability to repair temporarily and keep using something is often more valuable than owning a perfect item that cannot be replaced once it fails. Survival is often not about finding the best thing, but about keeping what you already have from disappearing too soon. If the one item you depend on most broke today, would you have a simple enough way to keep it working until tomorrow? 15. Safety pins. The value of overlooked things. There are objects so small that we almost forget we own them until the exact moment they are needed arrives. A safety pin resting quietly in the corner of a pocket, inside an old sewing kit, or mixed among items rarely touched. It is inexpensive, unremarkable, and no one thinks to prepare more than a few. But there will come a time when a seam tears while you are on the move, a bandage needs firmer support, or a zipper fails at the very moment it cannot be replaced. In that instant, something seemingly insignificant can become the only solution still within reach. Not to do anything grand, but simply to keep things from getting worse. And sometimes, that is already enough. The true value of a safety pin is not in its thin piece of metal, but in its ability to preserve a minimum sense of order when everything around you begins to unravel. Small details keep clothing intact, wounds protected, and daily life moving forward for one more day. Survival rarely fails because of the absence of something large. Often, it slips away because one tiny detail is missing at the exact wrong moment. Among the things you store and almost never think about, is there something small, yet capable of deciding whether your day passes in quiet stability or not? The 15 items in this video are not complex survival equipment. They are simple, inexpensive, and almost ordinary in normal life. But those very ordinary things are what remain when familiar options gradually disappear. True preparation does not begin with fear. It begins with understanding that the stable life we are used to is more fragile than we think. Just a few days of disrupted electricity, water, transportation, or irregular store openings can quickly change the value of small objects, from unnecessary to essential. Preparation is not to live in crisis. It is so that when disruption happens, you can still maintain a calm rhythm of life, still cook a hot meal, still keep the body clean, still repair what is breaking, and still continue a more normal day than others. In instability, normal is the greatest advantage. You do not need to buy everything today. You only need to ask a very simple question. If everything slows down in the next few days, what in this house will make you struggle the most? And sometimes, the difference between panic and calm lies only in the small things you prepared in advance.